All right, Fred, we are live.
Yeah, we're live. It looks like we're getting ready to kick off. We've got a good number of people have already showed up, Sham. So welcome everybody. This has been a long time coming, and I know a lot of you have been pinging us, asking questions. What have we been working on? We've been sharing with you that something big is coming, and well, here we are. We are so pleased to share with everybody that Reworked AI has inked a collaboration with Eagleview. And
Woohoo!
yeah, it's so many of you on the call have worked with us and had good success and then had success that nobody was pleased with, including ourselves. And we all came back to the weakness was the imagery. And we were able to really understand what was inside the home with the homeowner with our algorithms, but we realized that the imagery that we were using was low resolution, it wasn't timely, and it just wasn't up to snuff. It wasn't enough for us to have this product. We identified Eagleview as the leading aerial imagery company, plus a whole lot more. They also saw value in what we were doing, so we've signed a master license agreement with them to use their aerial imagery. We've already run a couple pilots with some roofing companies, and we're really pleased with what we're seeing. So again, bad roofs, great homeowners, and now we can accurately predict the roofs. Move on. So again, Eagleview is now a collaboration with Reworked. So it's you'll stop chasing clicks and start targeting roofs. Shall we move on, Sean? Talk about what we're going to be going through today. So very quickly, we want to talk about the number one challenge that we see a lot of roofing companies have: sales, revenue, new customers. We're going to talk about how Eagleview One collaboration really solves this conundrum in concert with Rework.ai. Sean will take us through a live product demonstration to see how it works. We've spent a lot of time, energy, and money, quite frankly, to try to make the online product as intuitive as possible. But as always, when you're using it and you see something, why does this make sense? Can we do this? Let us know. Some of the best ideas come from users. Then we'll take a quick peek at some real world case studies. And we've got the question chat open. If anybody's got a question, just go ahead and throw it in there and we'll address them at the end. Okay. Here's what it boils down to. This is the roofing market, the retail roofing market in one slide. There's the homeowner who realizes they've got a bad roof. They've either seen water egress into their house, they see it on their drywall, they see it coming down the wall, they know there's a problem. They are actively pursuing a solution. They are calling contractors, they are getting quotes, they're going online to see how much it costs, look at building materials. They are knee deep in the solution and they're going on and they're clicking ads, the pay per click. You're buying those leads. Guess what? 5 to 10 other contractors are also buying those leads, and they're not cheap. 70 bucks, 150 bucks, 300 bucks, depending on the level of intent and the size of the roof. Everybody is focused on that 1%, but the real trick is the 99%. The people that don't realize that they may have something wrong or that they do have something wrong with their roof, they just haven't been up there. I mean, not many people, except a lot of people on this call, are looking at roofs because it's not part of their daily life. They're an accountant, they're a school teacher. They come home, they drive in, they're not going up to say, hey, what's going on with my roof? It's just something that's there until our product. Eagleview is looking at the roof. They're determining that the roof is at or near failure. They're seeing how much of the roof is failing, where it's failing. We're looking at the homeowner. Does the homeowner have the wherewithal? Do they have the demographic makeup of someone who places a significant amount of value in getting this roof fixed, having it correctly done before it fails? Are they someone who's going to put a blue tarp up there for the next 6 to 9 months because they don't have the money? Those types of things we're determining before you were ever reaching out to them. So there's the ones that know they have a problem and the ones that don't know they have a problem, but they do. And we're going to focus on the need market, the 99%. All right, Sean? Why roof condition matters. We proved it. For the last year, our algorithms have been able to peek inside in a totally legal way the homeowners, starting with, is it a homeowner or a renter in that house? The marital status, the membership, subscription, income range, credit score range, all the things. We've spent 18 months and a lot of money. What do I mean by a lot of money? We went out and we bought roof permit data all over the country, several million of them. Then we looked at the neighborhood of the people that had their roof changed. Why did Joe have the roof change and Stacy and Anthony did not? We looked at the demographic condition, the demographic state of each of those people to determine why. Trying to also look into account the condition of the roof, or when the roof was built, when it was changed, what type of roof it is, taking all that into account. So we can predict that from the homeowner side. We needed Eagleview. Eagleview was the missing piece of our equation. Their aerial imagery is amazing. And that high definition has been able to link in, and then we're using AI to look at the roof, map it out, measure, look at how much is damaged. Is it real damage? Is it just dirt? Is it shading? All of that goes away with their product. And now we're confidently able to say that we can determine that the roof is at or near failing. And this is a homeowner who wants to have a conversation. Can we move on? So Shyam's going to take you through a product demo. Take it away, Shyam.
That was fantastic, Fred. Thank you. Yeah, now it's time for I'll be moving out of the slide deck and take you guys to the website. So bear with me here. All right, Fred, you see my screen here, you guys?
Got it. Yep. I do love that blue, but I'm partial to blue, as you can see.
Yeah. All right. So huge kudos to the team. They've been building this. We've been building this for the past several weeks, months now, and super excited and stoked to show all of you on the call and whoever is watching the recording, the product. So I'll be walking all of us through a new user flow, right? You come on the site, you sign up, go here, you click sign in. It's going to give a username. That is, let's see, so Reworked webinar@gmail.com. All right, I'm going to say demo user. I click sign up. All right, so once you sign up, the very first thing that you'll see is, of course, a quick recording for easy onboarding. I am going to click proceed because we don't want to watch that. You guys can watch that. But the first thing you do is give us insight or give us details about your industry and about who you typically target. Now, just a quick note here.
This industry profile is because Rework just doesn't play in roofing, right?
That's right.
We've got solar installer companies, we've got real estate investors, and some insurance. So we need to understand what you're coming to do before you start anything, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we've been, in business for several years now. Our flagship product or vertical is the real estate investor vertical. That's where we started. That's where we have a substantial set of customers. And since then we've of course diversified into solar, roofing, insurance, and other verticals. But this kind of gets us to, okay, of the several algorithms that we have, which one should we apply to you? So here we're obviously focused on roofing. So let's click that. Now, the very first thing we ask is, what channels are you using to identify new customers? Now, why is this important? Now, this is super important to us because someone who's responding to direct mail marketing might look very different from someone who might answer a phone call versus someone who actually responds to a text. Now, so there's some little variation in our algorithm on who we select based on the channels that you're pursuing. So, let's say you're doing door knocking and you're doing direct mail. So let's say you're doing both of those. And, you could be a roofing company that has a premium shingles that you're pursuing, very expensive neighborhoods and more affluent people, right? So larger homes, affluent people. So these inputs give us insight into what kind of customers you're targeting and what kind of product you're selling, so that we could also apply certain variations in our algorithm based on what you're selling, right? So just for kicks here, let's just select 3,500 square feet. You're doing high income. You're doing retail sales. And this just helps us pre-fill some information for you. So, I live most of my life in Fairfax County, Virginia, so I'm just going to select that.
But now,
Now
Sean,
the last question. Yeah.
So say I put in Miami-Dade, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the owner of a roofing company that is in the South Florida market. Would I be only restricted to see opportunities within Miami, or would I be able to pick and choose more later?
You can pick and choose more later. This is just to help us pre-fill on the page, but you could create as many profiles as you want once you're signed in. So you could have multiple people using the product, and they could have each of them could have different profile. But you're right, Fred. You could select any geography, but select different geography.
So I mean, if I was an installer that, say, I did 60% of my business asphalt to asphalt shingles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turn and burn. But I also have some higher end products that, I've got some composite shingles that, here in Florida, people are trying to get away from the clay tiles and go with the composite shingles. So I could create multiple profiles to say, okay, I want to get some opportunities for my straight shingle replacements. I want to get some opportunities from my, high-end composite tiles. And there's no extra cost for that, right? I can just do that as many as I want.
Yeah, fantastic question. That's right. No extra cost. You would select, you create one profile for the asphalt to asphalt shingle roof replacement, where you're targeting maybe a low middle income customer, and use that profile when you're getting opportunities, and create a different profile for the high income customer and select that profile when you're getting those opportunities. So yes, you can create as many for free. All right, this is the last question, I promise. I know we've been through a few of those. This is just, it just helps us, we integrate with multiple different CRMs and other software providers. So if, let's say you're using Salesforce and you have all your leads on Salesforce and you want all of them scored, you just push a button from Salesforce, get a rework, and we would push the scores back to you. So we just have some tighter integration there. And this just helps us figure out which ones you actually use. All right, so you just give this a name. I'm going to say 3,500 square feet, and what was this? High income customers. I'm just going to do that. That's it. Now you're in. Now there's a quick tour, which I'm going to skip now.
So
you can do that at least.
So I've already done this. I've gotten some opportunities, and I'm coming back in a month to get some more. Would I see those same prompts, or would I go right to my dashboard?
You would go right here. So in fact, the very next time let's say you log out and you log back in, you'll be brought straight to the dashboard. You would not go through those prompts again.
Okay.
That is just the very first time. All right. So once you're in the dashboard, you will, on the left-hand menu, you will see a few options here. The main option to focus on is the find opportunities. It's in a couple of places. It's here as well as here. So let's first do the find opportunities option. Okay, so this is where you come to, so Fred, why did we use the word opportunities and not leads here?
Yeah. So I think lead is a 4-letter word. And we've been in this, 4.5 years, and countless conferences and talking to people who buy, sell, use leads. And it always seems to elicit a bit of a negative facial expression, leads, because they've truly got a bad rap, right? As I alluded to earlier, if someone is running a pay-per-click ad on Facebook or wherever, and people are clicking on that and giving a little bit of insight into what their needs are, that demand, that person is being sold 5, 6, 7 times everybody's chasing that same poor. I mean, we've all been there, right? I mean, I've inadvertently pressed a couple of things. I did it 3 days ago, looking for a tutor for my daughter. I'm getting inundated. I feel like a fool because I don't know how many times I was sold to different people and now they're chasing me. So a bit of a soliloquy on leads. Yes, we're looking at opportunities. We're not telling you exactly where that needle is in the haystack. We're just saying there's some good needles over here. You got to focus your energy and your time here. And I see that now that's where the Fairfax County showed up here. So just
That's
trying
right.
to make it easy. Okay.
Yeah, you could always delete this and add something else. So, it's not biggie. But
Can
yeah,
you-
that's fantastic. So that's the, mhm.
Could I put in multiple counties, Sean?
Of course, yeah. You could put in Fairfax and we'll do Miami-Dade. Let's do both.
All right.
I'll do add. All right, so both of these are added. Now, that's where you live, no?
Yes.
Okay, so, but yeah, that's the need versus want, differentiation, right? Which is where we're targeting. Okay, so once you click on this find opportunities, this is where the fun begins. We are, at this very moment, looking at all the zip codes in Miami-Dade as well as Fairfax County, Virginia, and running a whole bunch of analyses on them, right? So point to note that we are not looking at each and every single home at this point. We are just looking at some aggregated data that we have on each of these counties to identify and narrow down, okay, what zip codes do we want to target to begin with, right? So we're looking at things like, income levels, education levels, again, all the demographic aspects that you think of, also what typically, when the homes were built, etc., to arrive at, these zip codes that we then want to pursue. Right?
So, Sean, it's interesting. You got two counties. I don't know the size of Fairfax County, but Miami's a pretty good size, right? So I just want to pull on that thread a little bit more. You're saying there's 2,749 opportunities found in those two counties. And now somebody watching this or listening to us right now is like, wait a minute, there's a lot more single-family homes than 2,700 in those counties. Again, hit on that for me. How did we get to 2,749?
Yeah, so we took, first of all, this is a very preliminary analysis. The number 2749 is, is not the exact number that if someone were to ask for, okay, hey, I want all 2749, give it to me. Right? When we actually go and give it to them, it might be a little over and under. The reason for that is because at this point, what we've done is we've looked at all of the zip codes in Miami-Dade and Fairfax County, Virginia, and we have analyzed based on multiple different factors, right? Just to name a few, we've looked at the average income of these, in these zip codes, when these homes were built, owner versus renter statistic in each of these zip codes, occupancy rate, marital status rate, all of these. Now, the question then comes, okay, how do you adjudicate, how do you judge, what parameters to use? Well, we've done that. Going back to what you said earlier, we have looked at millions of previous home roof replacement data to arrive at that algorithm that has said, okay, the typical home roof replacement happens with these parameters and you can apply that to any zip code to give a propensity score to a zip code. Just like how we give a propensity score to an individual, we could do that to a zip code as well. And given all of that, we've arrived at the top zip codes. And within those top zip codes, we've said, okay, these are how many homes, single-family residences with owners that are in these zip codes. And that's where the 2749 number comes in.
So, Sean, Joseph just put a question in here, and I thought it was timely to ask it now. Within the preliminary analysis, you didn't mention this, but I wanted to get it on the video here. Is there a consideration for weather patterns?
Yes. So we look at, we've been using the words like a chisel and a hammer for like hail versus, like a non-hail. But yes, a weather risk score is one of the parameters that goes into the zip scoring analysis. Absolutely.
And, it's really interesting when we started to dig into this. Sometimes I get drawn into these little factoids, but throughout the country, there's micro weather that we all kind of experience, right? Like if Sham lives on one side of the valley and I'm living on the other, our houses may be built within a year of each other, same essential roof structure, same composite, whatever. Yet the houses on my side tend to fail, and we've seen them failing earlier just because of the prevailing winds and how things are going. And so we've gotten it down to that level of historical impact that I was just blown away when we were able to get to that level of detail.
Yeah. All right. Now, the next thing to do once we have these is you select how many opportunities you like. Now, of course, our pricing is dependent on the volume that you're purchasing. Now, you could do 100, 250, 500, whatever. I'm just going to go with 500. And, you can add your credit card in here. And, you type in your credit card, photo, whatever. I'm not going to do that now. And you hit pay. And that's when the heavy lifting of the processing actually begins, right? So once you hit pay, your amount will be deducted. And what we do is it takes anywhere between a few hours. So there's a little bit of a nuance here well, actually, before that, let me talk through what the sequence of steps that happens, right? So step number one, what we do is we go and get from the top zip codes that we have, we get all the leads in those particular zip codes. And then we go hit Eagleview's APIs to get the roof condition from them. And finally, we apply our algorithms on top of all of the data. And basically, we apply the propensity score. And then we give you the top whatever numbers that you've requested for, right? So,
you put in 500, but I also see here, enter a custom opportunity, cost minimum 50, but I could go up to 27.49. My pricing will vary based on the volume that I'll put in there. I put it in, as you were saying, it's going to be a couple hours, maybe a day, because we are hitting up to 3 or 4 different APIs, right? So that's our computers talking to our data providers' computers, and then we're talking to Eagleview via, and all that information is coming in. The actual AI that we're doing, the machine learning that Betty, our software, is doing, that's measured in seconds. It's the collection of the data. We got to go out there and pick all this data up, put it in the right place, and then run the machine learning, and then it's done.
Yep. Yeah, and in terms of so if you were to do it today, if someone were to come in, log in the next couple of days, it might take a day. We just have to get all the data from Eagleview API. But yeah, within a couple of weeks, we'll be fully integrated via APIs, and we'll get it back in minutes, hours.
Depending on how much you're asking for. 50, it's minutes. You're asking for 5,000 or 50,000, it's going to be a little longer. What about scoring, Sham?
Yeah. So okay. So this is when you are a roofing company, you're looking for opportunities on the want section, right? And then we gave you 500 or whatever number of opportunities you have, and then you go market to them. You did the door knocking, or you did the cold calling, or whatever marketing channel that you're pursuing. But let's say you already have a lead list that you were planning to pursue, or that you're planning to
have CRM, or you got from somewhere else. You've got 50,000, right, what you consider to be opportunities, possibilities, yep, but you don't want to deploy the knockers, the callers, the mailers for 50 to 100,000. Well, okay, we got you covered.
Yep. Yeah, we got you covered. You just come here, you have the file in a CSV format or Excel format. All we need is just the names and addresses. That is the absolute bare minimum of information that we need, because that's how we hone in on who the individual is and where the property lies and what the property address is, so that we can actually go augment more information for our algorithms to work, right? So we, as it says here, we go, fetch like 54 plus data points on each of these homeowners, as well as obviously from Eagleview, the roof condition. And yeah, and then we, add the propensity score, and we give the file back to you with the same file with just the score appended to it. And then you can, it's all sorted. And then you can decide, okay, from the sorted file, here are the top higher scores. We're going to pursue those and just ignore, the bottom scores.
So we were on with a customer just last week who has 100,000, and they're looking to action that. And when we went through the whole process of scoring, they got the list down to it was just over 8,000. And because there's a propensity score, they can start at the top. So if they were going to start with 100,000 and give it to their call center, and the call center was going to start with, A, and then work their way down to Z. And now the call center is starting with the highest propensity based on roof and the owner. And that's where they're starting. And then once they see their appointments, their setters, once they see the roof, the actual roofing starting to tail off at about 100, then they're going to get another list, right? It's just, rather than just spinning your wheels with all this information, dialing for dollars, spraying and praying, you don't need to do that. Those days are gone.
Right. Oh, one last thing that I didn't cover in the roofing opportunities. Once you go through the flow and once the file is ready, you will be notified via email, or even when you come in, there's a little notification icon. And what you get is a spreadsheet or a CSV file with names and addresses in them that you can use. So that's the output of the opportunities product.
With the Betty score, right? The Betty.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sean. It does look nice, though.
Yeah. All right. Let's switch back to the slide deck here.
So just want to walk through a couple of recent case studies. And I think the most important thing in what we're offering is nobody needs to change their sales process. We're not saying that you stop doing direct mail and do knocking, or stop doing knocking and do direct mail, or vice versa. Whatever your process is today, you just steady on with that. If you built the team, you've got the mechanism in place, you've got your workflows, you just can put a better product in to get a lot more efficiency, right? Just think about, you're moving down the sales funnel. And this is what happened with a fairly large roofer in the Midwest who was thinking of mailing 80,000 mail pieces. As a matter of fact, they'd done a mailer earlier in the year. And the reason I put this, changed the call to action, that their mailer in the beginning was bland. It was like, we're roofers, right? So everybody's getting that in. Oh, okay, there's another roofer, right? We all get them. And we really had to work with them to, when they're doing this mailer, they have the opportunity to connect with an individual. Dear Mr. Johnson, our records indicate that your roof is at or near failure. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call. We'll send an inspector over. No cost. We'll give you a quote. It's the time to do it is now, not when it fails. And it's that change of the call to action and being specific about it, because you have information about the customer you're mailing it to. So their results have been wonderful, and they're still clicking up. Over 300 responses, 225 sales calls. Because just think of Mr. Johnson. He gets home, he looks at this, he talks to his partner, goes, maybe looks out the windows. Wow, I didn't notice. I better call these people. Again, building trust, building a connection with that. So targeted call and knockers. We gave this other company, this smaller company, about 300 good opportunities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And they were doing a combination of calling and knocking. And 4 or 5 days in, the owner of the company calls me. He says, Fred, this is killing it. Absolutely killing it. Another one, which is even more targeted. We gave us a company in the Carolinas a targeted list. And on that targeted list, this opportunity list, the contractor said, I changed 3 of these roofs 2 weeks ago, right? And they didn't say that as a negative. They were saying like, wow, if out of these 20, I've already done 3 2 weeks ago, I'm going out in my car right now to each of these addresses and tell them they've got an issue, right? So it's just like, it's so rewarding to see such a good product getting out there. But this is just 3 of many that have been in place, and we're so pleased to be able to get this Eagleview product in our hands to get it in your hands. Moving on. So, we've kind of rambled a little bit. Hopefully it wasn't too long. We haven't really lost anybody, maybe one or two. But there are some questions that have come in. The first one, Steve, thanks. Is this live, right? Can we get at this? And the answer is yes. It is absolutely live. It is ready to go. Joseph in Fort Worth. There's always someone that asks this question is, what type of data are you looking at, right? And the easy answer is Eagleview has a picture, has a high resolution aerial image of the house. And they're using computer vision, which is AI, to find the damage. We're using marital status, age range, income, credit score, children, occupants in the family, size of the house, membership subscriptions, potential equity in the house, all of the, there's up to 26 individual data points, and we're not scraping the internet for this. We are paying for this information. So it's accurate information. Let's see, we've got pricing. Great, Mary, thank you. For the opportunity finders, it goes from $192, but we're offering a 20% introductory discount down to $160 for an opportunity. That's for a big list, right? The smaller lists are a little bit more, getting up to the $2 range, but still incredibly competitive compared to what you're paying for a pay-per-click that you're going to chase with everybody else. Let's see. So D. Johnson, are there any guarantees? Well, I tell you what, Mr. Johnson, if you use us and you don't subjectively and objectively see what we're telling you, if you don't see the results, we're going to give you your money back, right? We're not here in this business. We haven't been 4 years doing this and have been successful by trying to fleece you for money. We want everybody who uses Reworked to absolutely believe in it, think, I've got to use it. I wouldn't ever dare go out there in the field. I would never dare do an outreach without getting it scored or looking at my opportunities first. So timing, Anthony's got a question on timing, but Sham, you've already covered that. It can be 20 minutes to a day and a half. We will see those times decrease as the pipe between Eagleview and ourselves get better and get optimized. We will have engineers watching that process on a 24-hour basis until we're sure that everything's working between us and Eagleview. But that's an internal problem. That's so 15 minutes to a day and a half, depending on the size of the file.
I have a question, Fred, from my
Yes.
side. What's a low risk way to try this out?
Say that again?
What's a low risk way to try this out?
Yeah, we've had a couple people do that, right? We had a gentleman, it must have been Tuesday of this week, who we allowed him to put his recent roofs, his jobs, into and get scored. Right now, he left. He said, within here I've got 20, and he gave us 100. He said, there's 20 that I've done in the last 3 months. Can't go too much deeper than 3 months because of the timing for the images. So we put that 20 in there, and out of the 100, and we identified all 20, and then there was another 15 that he's like, oh, he said, no, he was so genuine. He said, can I go and knock on these doors? And yeah, go ahead. So we love showing people that how powerful this is, and you can try that. I would suggest you put your money for getting new leads or new opportunities. Sorry, I'm biting my own tongue, for getting new opportunities. But if you want to test it out, please feel free. And we can be reached obviously at rework.ai. You can book a call, right? We've got a book a call button. We can get on a video call. Our phone number is on there. Our support email is on there. Sham and I do entertain a lot of these phone calls and emails. We're very close to the customer on this. So we're only a mouse button click away. Anything else, Sham?
No, this was great. Thanks for coming, folks.
Thanks, everybody. We look forward to talking with you in person. Have a great morning.